Mr. Breedlove, I appreciate you taking the time to join me today. I know time flies fast and furious when you're in a school year, and here we are at the mid-year point, and it seems like we only met yesterday when we were sitting down talking about your professional development plan, talking about your goals at the outset of the year, and really talking about what your vision is going to be for this school year. So I know you're a year and a half into this, so walk me back through your goals, what led you to those goals, and where you feel you are right now at this mid-year point with regards to those goals.
Sure. Well, Sunnydale Elementary, when I first came a year and a half ago, we had a lot of work to do. Teacher turnover, just our scores across the board were not as high as we would definitely like. And coming into this year, after my first year being in the building, kind of seeing how things were being run, getting to know the teachers and that, our goals were very specific on improving, continuing to improve our reading, our ELA, our math, our science, because when it comes down to it, the students' academic achievement is everything. And of course, there are a lot of other things that we are working on in community outreach, getting community and parent involvement in our school. Is another big example of some things that we came into this school year wanting to improve, and a lot of that is on the shoulders of me as the principal, but as a school as a whole, it's also our teachers understand that is a priority as well, from academic achievement to the community outreach.
And if I look back, if I remember correctly, at your PDP here, and I appreciate you mentioning those. You mentioned the reading and the math and the community outreach. We look and that aligns perfectly with Standard 2. You talked about instructional leadership. You talked about those things that you wanted to do to be able to move the school forward from an instructional standpoint. And then you mentioned community outreach. Well, that right there aligns with your external developmental leadership and the things that you're doing to be able to bring the community in to be a part of the school.
Yes, sir. So
let's look at what we have, because I think you brought the copy, and I appreciate that. You got the email and you got the attachments. You know how it is, email sometimes. Attachments, you never know what you're going to get. But having that, we've got our last year's EOG results. And then you've got survey data from the last teacher working conditions survey. And I know that predates you, but I think we use that as a baseline here moving forward. So let's shift to the EOG academic data for a moment.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about that instructional leadership. Talk to me about what you are pleased with and what you need to do better, and specific strategies aligned with those things that you're working on to be better.
Okay. First of all, what I'm very happy with were this past year's reading scores. That is something that moving forward we can build on. And I think that is the feather in the cap of all of our reading specialists, of our teachers, because at Sunnydale, 65% free and reduced, not a lot of parent support, and that's we were looking for the one item that we can now begin building our base off of, and reading was it. Looking at grade 3 reading, it was not as high as we would like, but many of our students were coming to us in kindergarten, and if we can go back and look at all of our assessment data that we have, even with kindergarten, and trying to identify specific skills that they are lacking when they come to us, we have seen growth in their reading level all the way from kindergarten all the way up through 5th grade. I know we only test 3rd grade, but we do have assessments that we use to understand the specific skills, and we have used Compass Learning to try and help us with identifying some of those reading skills. So we are using data to drive our instruction for reading and our reading math teams and what they are doing. That's a very solid team that we are building from. So we identified one, we were able to use the data to show that we are making successful gains in that. On the other side, all right, you can see our math scores. Our math scores are absolutely not where we want them. They are definitely lagging behind. We've had, and there's some reasons for that. If you want me to go into some of those reasons that I believe that our math scores are lower, is because we've had a lot of turnover, specifically with in fifth grade, and our main math teachers in fifth grade, the ones that were sort of leading the charge, are no longer here.
That's a great point. I love what you said, because I love use of data, and I've heard you say that several times. If you look at the survey results, I think you'll find that the staff, they would agree. They speak highly with the use of data. They talk about how that's used for planning. They talk about how that is kind of the driving process within the school. Shift a little bit, because I want to ask you this, and you I think have answered something, and that's good insight to have, because from our perspective, kind of looking from outside the school, you may not always see these things, but you do know that your proficiency each year, 3, 4, and 5, it declines.
Yes, sir.
So we're looking at, from third grade, 38.4% of those students are proficient, all right, on grade level, with third grade math scores, but then by the time we get to fifth grade, you're looking at 29.5% of those students being proficient. And you kind of see this decline across. So when you speak turnover, is it that turnover is exclusively within the math department, or have there been perhaps key pieces or key staff members which have contributed to the turnover that have affected other areas of the math department?
Well, I think it's sort of a combination of both. In years past, our school has had several key teachers who were math specialists that are no longer with us. We've had to hire new teachers and begin training them. I think these are last year's scores, and based on our current benchmarks that we've been given, our third, fourth, and fifth grade, we have seen increases this year in those scores. Even though we've had some new teachers, we've had the curriculum coordinators coming in and working with these new teachers, making sure that we are actually teaching a lot of the Common Core. I think with the outgoing, losing some of those key teachers who were heavily we were dependent on in math, by losing them, now we've been able to train our own teachers and seen some significant growth so far in the benchmark. So I do not believe that at the end of the year you will see any declines. You will actually see a vast improvement in our third, fourth, and fifth grade math scores.
And I like what you say with the use of resources. You start talking about formative assessments, you start talking about benchmarks, you start talking about coordinators, you start talking about support staff. Let me make a suggestion, if I may. Have you thought about perhaps, and you may be doing this, making a connection between that instructional leadership goal that you have and then bridging that perhaps with the external developmental leadership? Now, one of the things I'm looking at the surveys we see is that the staff and even the parents have I think that there's a disconnect between the level of engagement and the level of communication, the level of involvement that what one perceives as taking place and between what is actually taking place. So is there maybe an opportunity there, as you're looking for enhancements of the instructional program, is there an opportunity to perhaps engage community within that concept? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And we offer several curriculum nights throughout the year that we ask parents to attend so that we can discuss what is actually happening in the school. We encourage our parents and we encourage our teachers coming into this school year, and I know we've got a teacher working condition survey, and that community outreach was an issue. We have really tried to work with and having our teachers respond to emails within 24-hour period, respond to parents' concerns, to make sure that parents have resources at home as well that they can help their children in math or reading or science, whatever our teachers are working on at that particular time. In addition, I want you to know that I have also gone out to the community. I have spoken at several churches to try and let our community know that this is a new day and era for Sunnydale Elementary. We are on a path of success. These are our expectations. We have high expectations for children. Yes, they will have homework. All right, and I know what the survey data said. It talked about homework maybe not being seen as valuable as it should be. And that bothers us. And we have, in my speeches that I've made to the community, in the messages that I expect teachers to have with parents, is that yes, the homework is valuable, it is to be done, and all students are expected to do it. Are we going to burden them for hours on end? No, but there are 15, 20-minute exercises to be done.
And I think that what you say there can help bridge the gap between what the staff says is a parents, guardians, support teachers, and are contributing to their success with students. That could help. I love what you have to say. It feels like you have a good feel for what the data and for what the surveys and for what these artifacts are really kind of giving you to work with. Excited about what you said with regards to the midpoint, where we are moving forward. Stay the course.
Yes, sir.
Keep those efforts going. What can I do to support you?
We are looking at a summer program for reading and math, a summer camp. Funds are, I know, tight for everyone. If there is any way that you could help offset some of the costs for that, we really think that will help us make progress with students and keep them engaged in more of a year-round concept, even though we're not on year-round, getting them for 4 or 5 weeks during the summer, students, making this an opportunity for students. I think parents would really like that.
You got it. I'll tell you what, let me take a look at that. I'm going to follow back up with you by the end of the week on that, and we'll see what we can move forward.
Yes, sir.
All right. Listen, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.